Welcome to the Earn More, Stress Less podcast with me, Caro Syson, and my co-host for this season 2, Hayley Hudson. This podcast is for self-employed business owners just like you who really want to grow their business and become successful and profitable and without all the stress and hassle. We want to share over 50 years of our business experience to show you how simple it can be to earn more money and how you can get organised without needing a business degree or any other qualification. We'll be talking about the easy steps that you can put in place right now to start earning more money today and to help you get the business that you deserve and dream of. So without further ado, let's get started. This week's podcast is sponsored by Pocket PA, helping self-employed business owners to get organised, understand their finances and do their accounts all in one place using a powerful online tool. If you're serious about making a profit and having a successful business, then using a simple digital app like Pocket PA is the best way to grow and scale your business. Visit pocketpa.com for more details and start managing your money like a pro today. Hello and welcome to the Earn More, Stress Less podcast with me, Caro Syson, and the wonderful Hayley Hudson. Hi, Hayley. How are you?
Hi, Caro. I'm fine. How are you?
Good. Well, I'm very excited about this week's podcast because we are talking about leveraging your time. Now, when you are a solo business owner, when you work by yourself, for yourself, when there are no duvet days, there is only one of you in your business. You are doing everything. You are wearing all the hats, and you do need to work smarter, not harder, to get things done because you just can't clone yourself. It would be wonderful if you could just make another version of yourself and that version could just go on autopilot and do all the stuff that you don't fancy doing in the background, but unfortunately you can't. So today, Hayley and I are going to be talking about things that you can do to leverage your time, to claw back some of that time and to work a little bit differently by putting small things in place just to free up a few extra minutes, which will turn into extra hours. So we're going to try and give you some handy time-saving hacks and tips, and that's what Hayley and I have for you today. So one of the first things that we wanted to talk about was appointment scheduling software. Now, online booking is the way to go. Now, I know that that's not for everyone. There are a lot of control people out there. I don't want to say freaks because I am one of those people. Do you like being in control, Hayley? Is that you?
Absolutely. I really love being in control.
So I know that that is hard if you are in charge of a paper diary and you're thinking, oh my goodness, an online booking diary, something digital where people booked themselves in. That is so far from where I am right now, but do stay with us. So we're going to talk about why online booking can be super handy wherever possible. So we're talking about the idea of getting clients to book themselves in. Now, this will save you endless time, minutes, hours, whatever, in your evenings and weekends, because your clients will be able to book themselves in at a time that is convenient to them. And let's be honest, most of the clients like to do things in their evenings, weekends, early morning, at a time when you're probably not actually clocking on and working. You might be fast asleep, you might be busy working, and you can't answer messages and stuff. So this is going to save you endless back and forth messaging. Now, there are lots of different booking softwares, and obviously the one I'm going to talk about is Pocket PA, but Pocket PA isn't just a booking software. It's not just a calendar. It's not just a CRM system. It's not just an accounts software package. It is an end-to-end system. So online booking is just one element of what Pocket PA can help you with. And I know when my daughter moved to online booking, it was an absolute game changer for her. As well as doing the online booking, letting clients book in and put their own services in at a time to suit them. They can see your diary straight away. You can block out times when you're not available for holidays, for lunch breaks. When another client books in, that slot becomes unavailable. But online booking is a game changer, especially if you can link it to a payment gateway to enable you to be able to take Stripe or Square card payments. So you can take that deposit at the time of booking, and that will massively reduce your no-shows. People are invested, they've already paid a deposit, so they're much more likely to turn up. Also, automated reminders. You can have a booking confirmation go out when somebody creates an online booking, and this can absolutely save you a fortune in time and in money. So, Hayley, have you used online booking systems in the past? Have you used a load of different ones?
Yes, we've been using them for, well, personally in my own businesses, I've been using them probably for the best part of 12 years. But before I had my own business and was working for other companies, it was quite new back then, to be totally honest with you. Systems used to cost an absolute fortune. So we used to have, and they weren't cloud-based. So they used to be quite glitchy as well, which was fun. I mean, it took a lot of the legwork out of it, but the cost has come down so much nowadays. You can literally get a software system for the cost of the price of coffee. It is fantastic to be able to have that. And if you can't afford to have support staff within your business, and you're not at that stage, by just taking on a software, especially a booking software, it can be fantastic. And they encompass everything. So it can be your appointment diary, scheduling, your online booking, it can be your reporting, your stock, you name it. It's got it all in there. It's a one-stop shop, and it can save you hours. I love them.
Yeah, and I think sometimes people think, oh, I'm not very technical. I'm not going to be able to do that. It will be complicated to set up. How do I get these links that people talk about? But they are super simple. I know in Pocket PA, we have 3 tabs that you can just set up super quick, and you just copy and paste the link into your social media or into your website. You can actually brand the booking page with your color or your logo. So it actually has that look and feel about yourself. And it's just a game changer. You can put your cancellation policy and your terms and conditions in there so that you've covered all your legal basis, and clients do love it. They love having that convenience of being able to access your diary and look and check on your availability and just find a time that suits them. And as I say, I know a lot of people that are using the Pocket PA booking system. It has been a game changer for them, and they just wouldn't be without it now. They hardly ever are back and forth messaging clients, so it is super handy. So online booking, that's one of the first things that we wanted to talk about. Try and look into that if that's not something that you are already using. So the second thing about leveraging your time is about getting organized. It's about knowing where everything is. It's about preparation and organization. And I think, Hayley, probably you'll be much better to talk about this one. I can't emphasize enough the importance of being prepped and organized. It certainly makes you a lot more efficient. But what tips can you share with our listeners about being prepped?
Main thing is just to try and get a routine and standardize what you do. So have a way to do even the smallest things in your business. So whether it comes to front of house things or behind the scenes things. So in terms of how you set up your trolley, what you get ready for if you're doing a certain type of service, sometimes even prepping the night before, if you've got a treatment room or, you're in a salon or clinic setting, then obviously if you're mobile, you can't necessarily set up, what you would be doing in somebody's house the night before, but you could certainly set your kit up. Set yourself up for success. Check all your things, make sure you've got everything that you need. We would always have a routine for stock taking everything once a week. So for me in my business, whether I've been renting a chair or having a salon, I've always done a stock check every single week to make sure what I've got. You don't even have to use a software system if you're not at that stage, or if you're just using the online booking and that part of your system and it seems too daunting to use the stock, because in the past I've had some systems where some of it's been really easy to use and the other half of it's been a little bit more technical. So even if you're just literally ripping the labels off a tube of colour and putting them into a little tub, like we used to do in the olden days, so you don't have to keep counting everything, just anything that you can do to track what you're using, that will save you time. And buying your stock in bulk as well, that will save you time. So if you've got to go and buy like teas and coffees and things like that, it sounds really basic. I know this is really, really basic, but it will save you so much time. Like if I've got to go and buy all of the things for the salon, I literally go and I buy like 2 months worth. I don't just buy it week by week. If I know that I'm going to need it and I know that I'm going to use it, I'll probably get a discount for bulk buying. So just buy it, do the thing. So wherever you go and whatever you're doing, buy a few weeks worth. That would be my top tip. Whereas I think a lot of people are sometimes a little bit more, you've got to be conscious of the budget, but actually you can waste so much money by going to the wholesalers once a week instead of once a month. Or, if you're buying 1 pack of foils instead of 3, you might get a bonus discount for buying the 3. So it's kind of, I suppose that's 2 points in one really. But, just looking at where you spend your time, do a time audit, but definitely get some systems in place, even if it comes to how you guide your clients up, where you keep your stuff in the salon or in the setup. So even if you can save 1 or 2 minutes, that adds up throughout the day. And it also stops you from running behind with your clients.
Next task that we can talk about to help leverage your time is batching tasks and content. And I know a lot of people spend a lot of time in social media. And one of the big things that I do now is to batch create my social media content. So what I mean by batching, if this is a new concept to you, it is really good to optimize your time management. So if you're making a post and you're, for example, doing, say you want to put up a post about quotes, or you want to put up something about your transformation of your before and after or whatever. When you get into the nitty gritty and you've sat down and you've opened your social media up and you've got all your content in front of you and you've got your brain in gear, it is much easier to create 5 or 10 posts all around the same topic at the same time than it is to just suddenly wake up in the morning and think, oh my goodness, I need to do a post on a quote or a transformation, and you're scratching around looking for a before and after, putting it together on the hoof as you're running around. So it is much better to just sit down and think, right, I'm going to spend an hour today on my social media and I'm going to put together 10 posts and captions all on the same thing. And you're not going to post them all out at the same time, but you're going to create 10 posts around the same thing. And then that will enable you to be able to post one each week. So you might choose to put that out on the same day each week. You might decide, so if you are into fashion and every Wednesday you want to put out a post about wardrobe Wednesday or something, you can create those wardrobe posts 10 at a time, and it'll just be at that moment you're in that headspace creating that wardrobe post, and it's super easy to create 10 of them when you're in that headspace, and then you can literally put out one for the consecutive 10 weeks. And that sort of idea of batching your content is a much better time efficient, and it's certainly it saves a lot of stress and aggro of running around in the mornings thinking, what are you going to put on social media? So that's one example of batch content creation. What sort of things do you do, Hayley, to help save your time on that sort of thing where you can batch tasks?
I'm always batching. So when it comes to social media, as you've said, I batch content, and I schedule them as well, so that they're released for me rather than doing it on the day, because otherwise, like you say, you just end up trying to post something, and it's, you need to post with purpose. It's your marketing, it's to attract clients. So if you're just panic posting in the morning, you're not going to get new clients with that. It's just not going to work. You may as well not bother. So you do need to be, having a plan for that. In terms of in the salon with practical batch, so almost like a batch content of service. So I would always make sure that big double booking is a big thing at the moment in terms of service delivery. So especially in hairdressing, I'm not too sure about the beauty side because of the processing time. So in hairdressing, we have a processing time where the colour develops, and there's a big push for only seeing one client at a time. That seemed to be the best place to operate from. There's almost like a little bit of a hierarchy going on with some of the influencer stylists about that. But I think you have to be super wary of that, because if you're only seeing one client at a time, you're cutting down your productivity and your income per hour. So that means you're going to have to charge your clients far more than you did if you essentially double booked.
So when we made Pocket PA, we particularly catered for hairstylists in that way. So we had a multi-part service appointment. So you could, for example, book the client in for half an hour to perhaps put some foils on. Then you could have a free space for 40 minutes, however long it takes to develop. And then you would come back to that initial client. And so we had a booking, we've got a multi-part booking service feature in Pocket PA to allow that, because then that will show your diary free for that development time to enable people to maximize productivity. But you're saying that that's not such a popular thing now. Is that what you're saying?
Just a big push for people to move away from it. And I think it's a massive mistake. I've come across a few people during my mentoring that have been saying, I can't understand why I'm not earning as much money. And especially with lockdown, because we weren't necessarily allowed to see 2 clients at a time, people have stuck with that. But you're missing so much opportunity to make more money. And it's, it doesn't mean that you're cutting down on the quality of service. I think there's a big push for it to be you should be seeing one person and giving them your undivided attention. But that's okay if you're a big leading stylist in LA and you're charging thousands of pounds, whatever. But if you're, like me, you're just in Derby and, you're doing hair, the amount of money that we would lose if we only did one client. And I don't think clients are necessarily that bothered about having a one-to-one experience. By double booking, like you've just said, I mean having a client during the processing time. I don't mean having 2 clients on the go at the same time, juggling the same, trying to do 2 haircuts in one appointment time. Literally, you put the colour on, you then would go and do another colour or a cut and finish with another client, and then go back to your client when the processing time is finished. And it just enables you to maximise the time that you're at work. So in terms of batching services, I think it's a really, really good idea, and I'm all for it. I don't like the exclusive appointment setup.
And as a client, I think sometimes you can be there at the hairdressers for maybe 2 or 3 hours. It's actually quite nice to have a break from the hairdresser talking, because you sometimes feel, that's a long time to be chatting and having that conversation. You might actually be wanting to catch up on a magazine or something like that. It's your downtime at the hairdressers. It's your time as well. So yeah, don't be afraid of utilizing and maximizing your time to be able to fit in a kid's cut or something in that interim space when you don't actually need to be hands-on, because it will increase your income generation, no doubt. So another way that you can leverage your time is to outsource some of your non-essential tasks. Now, I think it's a great idea to try and identify anything that you don't have to specifically do for yourself. And this doesn't need to necessarily be at work tasks as well. I think if you're really not a bookkeeping type of person or a social media type of person, there is nothing wrong if you spend an inordinate amount of time languishing over any of these tasks and you just find it completely stressful. If you want to outsource something like that to somebody where it is their zone of genius, a freelancer, or to use an automation tool, I mean, even to pay for a cleaner or someone to do the ironing at home, if you're going to be paying them less money than you could be making by earning in that same hour, then it obviously makes sense to be actually paying somebody else to do that work instead. So if you might be paying a cleaner 14 or 15 pounds an hour, but you can actually earn 40 pounds an hour, then don't do those tasks if they are sucking the life out of you. It's a no-brainer. You would outsource those sorts of tasks, and don't diminish the idea of having help, sort of domestic help at home, as, being a diva. You need to maximize and make sure that your energy banks are, topped up and full. So it's important to have a look at the tasks and the responsibility and the things that you're doing day to day, week to week, and see where it might be more cost effective for somebody else to be doing those, to be able to allow you to actually be working in that area. What are your thoughts on those things, Hayley?
I think it's essential to grow. If you want to grow your business, I think you have to get comfortable with outsourcing certain things, because you cannot do all of the things. Eventually you will burn out. So it can be really scary outsourcing and getting people to help, especially if you're the type of person who happens to be quite good at a lot of things. So it can be difficult, but it's okay as long as somebody is doing a job to a good standard. It doesn't necessarily have to be to your standard at first off. Like I've heard a lot of my friends have gone, I can't get a cleaner because they won't clean it as good as me. I'm like, well, just get a cleaner that does a really good job. And if you want to go and re-scrub the tap, then and you've spent 5 minutes rather than 4 hours, then I'm sure that's still a win.
We're back to the control freak conversation again, aren't we? That only I can do everything as well as I like it to be done. Yeah. And I'm exactly the same with you as a cleaner. It took me a long time to get a cleaner, and then you have cleaners that sometimes aren't like up to scratch. But then I think, goodness, if they can do 80% of the stuff and there's only 20% of the stuff left for me to just sort of top and tail, I am winning. I am definitely on that boat. So yeah, I agree with you on that.
I've got a cleaner and she folds all my washing. So I wash it, I tumble dry it, I leave it all like a teenager would in a washing basket, and she comes in and folds it all like it's out of a showroom, and I love it. And even if I've tried to fold things, she comes back in and she refolds them because she can't cope, because my folding is not to her standard. And it is a skill. I've said to her, don't underestimate this. This is a skill. I cannot do what you do. So I'm really fortunate. I've got a fantastic lady who's been recommended by a client of mine. So she saves my life, literally. But, there are certain things that, if I want a real deep clean, I have to either give her instructions and be specific about what I want. If you're hiring somebody to do anything within your business, I mean, obviously we're using a cleaner as an example here, but if something's really important to you, then you need to tell them that is the thing that's important to you. For me, I'm not bothered about someone dusting. I don't care. But I want, if I want to go around and wipe everything, that's great. But I don't want to pull my furniture down. I don't want to wipe my doors. I don't want to do the skirting boards. You can, it's okay for you to get somebody to do the things that you don't want to do. And it's okay to pay for that. And same, in your business, if you're not so great with some of the numbers, it's absolutely fine to either take on a software or have a software, but also have somebody that you pay for even like 1 hour a week. just to go through things and give you a summary, or, it's okay to ask for help.
Yeah, and having a virtual assistant sometimes, particularly if you aren't so good on the tech side of things, just to even set something up for you, you could get a tech VA, and they specifically do all the technical stuff which so many people don't like. And you could just get them in for a couple of hours to set something up, or you could have them in on a regular basis for a couple of hours a month or an hour a week. It's totally up to you when you're outsourcing, but these are non-essential tasks that you could give out to someone else. It's not the delivery of the service to your clients. It's not client facing. So it's support work staff, I guess, tasks that you could actually get some assistance with. And then that brings us on really to the last point of investing in time-saving tools and equipment for your business. That will also help you leverage your time. So don't underestimate anything where you can replace doing sort of the mundane day-to-day stuff, which is a repetitive things, which you can actually put on a set and forget setting. So this is like automating your reminder messages to make sure that your clients turn up on time. There are lots of tools, including Pocket PA, that will allow you to set it up once, and you can have a bespoke personalized message that goes out to your client to remind them to turn up and come to your appointment. Those small things can make massive impacts into your business and into your bottom line. So it might seem that there's a cost base to it, 9 times out of 10 there will be, but the actual proportionate time saving that you're going to have and the amount that you can actually make in return for it is immeasurable, as well as clearing down on your headspace. What sort of things on the equipment side, Hayley, do you think would be worth investing in to be able to help leverage your time?
Essentially, I think it's things that do speed up the time of the service of delivery. So I know for hairdressing, we have products that can speed up dry time. If you can cut a blow dry time by 5 to 10 minutes, then, obviously, 1, you're not running behind, 2, it's less impact on your body, and 3, it's less stressful. So definitely products like that is really, really powerful, making sure that you're selecting the correct product type for your client, their type of hair. Even like if you've got somebody who wants a straight blow dry, make sure you're using the curl cream. Get your products and equipment to do the legwork rather than you having to work even harder. Even using the right hairbrush can have a huge impact on how quickly that blow dry takes. And I talk about the blow dry in hairdressing because for me personally, a haircut literally takes a few minutes. The majority of a cut and blow dry appointment is that blow dry. So if you can speed that process up, then that is going to, save you so much time and so much effort. Little things like Vish is really good as well. So that's a product that you can get. So it's like a software product, but it tracks the color usage that you use. And it also automatically saves the formula. So you weigh out the product and it actually automatically saves what the color formula is, which is fantastic, which saves you so much time again on admin. It's completely different to like a booking software. It is an additional thing. It doesn't do that. It is purely to track your color usage, but it's brilliant. And it also keeps a line on the bottom line. And if you're using it alongside Pocket PA, you could then put that data in. So again, it's more accurate and you can track these things much better and more quickly. I think the other thing as well is, like, for me, is scissors. There's a lot of stylists out there who go and spend very, very little amount on their scissors. And I always think of them like chef's knives. If you're trying to cut a tomato with a blunt knife, it's just going to, splat everywhere. It's not going to work. So I always invested a lot of money in my scissors, even from day one. So I think the first pair I ever bought was like 150 quid. And that was a long time ago. But in the theory that I didn't want to have to keep buying them, so you have to get them sharpened, you have to get them serviced. And I was finding every couple of years I was buying a new pair of scissors, and it was getting more expensive. I tried a £200 pair, I tried a £400 pair, and it was getting higher and higher and higher. And bear in mind, I was a very, very busy stylist. I was working 10, 12-hour days, so I was maxed out. I mean, if you're only doing hair for a couple of days a week, you might not want to invest so much. And eventually I saw a pair of scissors that were a huge amount, eye-watering amount, in fact. And I thought, why would anybody buy them? That's ridiculous. That's really, that's really ostentatious for somebody to buy a pair of scissors that expensive. Anyway, I took the plunge and I bought these super expensive scissors. And I have now had the same pair of scissors for over 10 years and I've only had them sharpened twice. So, it is well worth investing in things. Sometimes it is worth pushing that boat out just to save yourself money in the long run.
Yeah, I think sometimes it's a false economy to go cheap, and people don't realize that till they're at that point that they're having to keep replacing something. And, it is worth doing that investment. So I hope some of these practical tips and hacks for leveraging your time when you're working solo, whatever business and industry you're in, I hope these have helped you. So just to give a quick recap, we talked about implementing an online booking software wherever you can to be able to let your clients book in. We talked about being prepared, being organized, about batching some of your tasks so that you can actually save time by doing it once and then scheduling them. We talked about outsourcing some of your non-essential tasks and then investing in your time-saving tool and equipment. So Hayley and I have loved chatting to you about these things. We're going to be here next week for another episode of the Earn More, Stress Less podcast. But until then, have a fabulous week, whatever it is you're doing, and we will catch up with you again really soon.
See you soon.
Thank you so much for listening today to the Earn More, Stress Less podcast with me, Caro Sison, and my co-host, Hayley Hudson. If you've enjoyed this week's episode, then do hit subscribe so we can catch up again soon. And please kindly leave a review if you've got a moment and share with anyone else that you think this podcast could help on their self-employed journey. If you're ready to make bigger breakthroughs in your business life and want to get way more organised and understand your finances the really simple way, then start your very own 14-day free trial today using the super powerful software tool Pocket PA that I made for my own son and daughter. Go to pocketpa.com/podcast and let's get you on the way to earning more money and stressing much less. Have a great week, whatever you're doing.